Hey everyone, it's Barb again. I am going to be posting a poll either tonight or tomorrow, and it's going to ask like different topics of things that I have written down to talk about at some point. So I figure, since sometimes I don't know which ones to go with, I figure, well, I'll ask and see what you guys want to hear, which stories you want to hear. Sorry, my necklace keeps coming undone. So today I started with a migraine earlier. That was not good because who likes a migraine? But I went ahead and took some Excedrin, drank some water, rubbed icy hot on my forehead because I'm apparently psychotic. But that really helps, even though it burns a little bit. It irritates the skin a tiny smidge, but not too bad. And then I laid down and took a nap. I think it was dehydration, to be honest, because I didn't really drink a whole lot of water yesterday. So I got to work on that. So yeah, look for the poll for later and decide whether or not, which topic you'd like to hear about first. And I will look in the comments and wait and see the results of the poll, and we can go from there. That way I can at least make content that people are interested in hearing. So, today's video, I was thinking about parenting. Even though I have 6 kids and 5 out of 6 are grown adults at this point, and I realized, parenting doesn't come with a handbook, and nobody really knows what to do. And then each child is different, like completely different. And they learn differently. They need different things, like from me, emotionally and whatnot. So I just feel like, there's no, even somebody that's parented 6 kids, I wouldn't be able to write a parenting book because somebody else's child is going to be completely different. So I think that, our behavior and how we parent needs to cater to the child and the child's needs. Some need super duper structure, some need to be free spirits, it's just, I look at it differently. If somebody's creative and they're a free spirit, then you encourage their creativity and help them, to be somebody that follows their dreams and follows their passions. And the same thing with the kids that need structure. If they need structure to be successful, then you teach them with structure. And so it might look different what you do with one child than what you do with the other, but that's because moms and dads kind of know what we're supposed to do for the most part based on the child. And we want the child to be successful and happy, so we're going to do whatever we can to encourage that, through the environment. But I started to realize, my mom always used to say to me, kids do what you do, they don't do what you say. And I really believe that. And I believe that, there's a story as to how I got, how I got to this place, I guess, where I'm taking on my mental health as a journey instead of just, just letting the depression take over. I tend to do certain things when I'm depressed. I let myself be depressed because for so long I would be depressed. And then after I would be depressed, I would start to spiral into, oh, well, you should have gotten that done today and you didn't. And so I like to avoid that beating myself up because I'm depressed, because I would never have done that to someone else. If someone said, oh, I'm having a down day and I just want to curl up with a book or just take a nap for the whole day or watch TV, or I would allow them some space to do that. I just wouldn't encourage or, just let them continue to do that for long periods, because I know where that led for me and nobody really could stop it. So there was a lot of years, probably I would say almost a decade probably of years where I just was depressed to the point where I was pretty much, incapacitated with depression. I just didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go to the store. I didn't want to talk to people. Friends would call and want me to go out and I wouldn't want to do it. I mean, isolation is a huge part of depression, and I feel like, the isolation is to keep you from having that positive feedback. The depression's trying to pull you down. And let's face it, friends are there to pick you up. Coworkers will pick you up, if you're having a bad day. So I feel like in the parenting arena, I know my ADHD got sidetracked with all of that, but with the parenting idea, I feel like, hold on one second, I don't know what that is, but, you know, I feel like what's happening is that I feel like that, you know, if I have learned that my mother was correct about that, like, you know, kids do what you do, they don't do what you say. If I want my child, like, for mental health purposes, we try to be strong for our children. Like, if we're having, like, when I was depressed, you know, when I was crippling depression, I couldn't I couldn't hide it. Um, but I hid it for so many years before that. And I wasn't just honest with them. Like, hey, I have depression. It's hereditary. I should have just explained that. A lot of people say, oh, well, let's just keep it from the kids. We don't want it to upset them. We don't want it to be something they worry about. And we don't want to, you know, we don't want them to be affected by it. But they're going to be affected by it anyway, because kids can sense when you're sad. Kids can sense when you're depressed. And just like we want the best for our children, we want them to be happy and successful, and we want them to thrive. They want the same for us. And that's love. I mean, that's what love is. And I feel like, you know, a lesson that I learned through parenting, and that, you know, phrase my mother told me, was basically that if I want, like, from a mental health perspective, if I want my children to be strong, but I also want them to know that it's okay for them not to be 100% of the time, then I have to live my life like that so that they can see that. So that's one of the reasons I've allowed that, like, if I get a depressed day, it's like, okay, you're depressed. And I comfort myself with those same things that I need. I comfort myself with that instead of, like, asking for help. And I allow that to happen so that they can see that, okay, mom's been depressed, and she was, you know, literally in a crippling depression for so many years, and she came out of that. And, you know, depression's in my genes. There's nothing I can do about that. There's medicines you can take and things like that, but I don't take those types of medicines. I once in a while I'll take anti-anxiety medicine if I am having really bad anxiety, but my faith has helped me so much with that I don't need that as often anymore. You know, I just honestly tune into God and tell him how I'm feeling. And then, you know, I start, like, no kidding, I'll tell him, oh, I'm not feeling, like, good about myself. I'm not feeling like I'm worthy of anything. And I will go back to the aha moment with Jesus and my encounter with him, which is going to be an episode in the future. Might be on the poll. But I feel like it will, you know, he always comes at me, and then I'll go to church on Sunday, or I'll run into somebody at work and they'll say something about a scripture, or just something I'll hear, and it's the thing I needed to hear. And then now I actively, like, sometimes I will actually seek it out in the Bible. Like, I'll go to, you know, I'll Google it, or I'll just look in the back of the Bible. I have a Bible that my son got me, my son Antonio, and the Bible he got me has, like, if you need strength, or you need this, or if you're feeling this, like, if I'm feeling anxiety, or I'm feeling sadness, or whatever, there's verses in the Bible that guide you to, so that you can read it. And believe it or not, it works, because, you know, that's a whole other journey. I'm not going to get sidetracked on that. I was raised as a Catholic, and then there was a spiritual journey for me, and it started when I was like 15 years old, and while I was in Catholic school. So I just feel like, or maybe I wasn't quite 15. I might have been 14 or 13, whatever 8th grade is. However old I was in 8th grade. I graduated when I was 17. So I just feel like, you know, I've learned from that. And so, like, I want my kids to ask for help if they need help. I want them to say, like, hey, I'm struggling with my mental health. I want them to talk about it. So how do I get them to talk about it? Well, they're going to role model me, and they're going to do what I do. So I talk about it. I'll call them and say, or talk to my, you know, my youngest when we're together, or I'll just, you know, talk to my oldest over the phone, or whatever I need to do. And I'll just say, like, you know, hey, today's not a good mental health day for me. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling down. And usually they come to the rescue and they will help cheer me up if I tell them. But if I don't tell them and I just keep it a secret, then they will also keep it a secret. There was a few years back, my first daughter, Megan, she was going through some stuff. I was going through some stuff. We live in the same house, and we were just going through our stuff separately. And then I don't remember how it ended up that we talked about it, but we started to realize, like, hey, we're both going through stuff alone when we should be there for each other. So when each of us has an anxiety attack, we tend to sit down and talk together, and because anxiety will have you convinced of some really crazy things. I'll make an episode about some of the crazy things my anxiety has convinced me of, and I might share my daughter's story about one of the things that hers had convinced her of, and when we went outside and talked about it, the other person who's not experiencing what we're experiencing at the moment is saying, like, that's crazy. And yeah. And then we laugh about it because it is crazy. It sounds absolutely crazy, but by myself or by herself, anxiety has a way of convincing you, no matter how ridiculous it sounds. In that moment, you are convinced that that is what's going on, and it's tricky. It's really crazy, but that's going to lead for some funny stories in the future. But that's all I have for tonight because I'm going to spend some more time with my youngest. We're going to play some games and have a good time. And I just wanted to make sure I filmed my video and got it out consistently. So I am super glad if this helps anybody, or anybody even found it just entertaining. I'm not a therapist. I'm just somebody who has mental health issues. So the only thing I can speak on is my experience. And I can't promise you that, the things I talk about will help you or what have you. I guess this is just for informational and for entertainment purposes. But if some of the things sound like they could help you, give it a shot, because that's really why I'm doing this whole video channel thing, because I want to, or the podcast. I'm trying to figure out right now how to get it up onto other things, like I don't really have a lot of visual things going on. It's really just me talking that you're watching. So I feel like it would be advantageous to also get this up on other platforms, like maybe Spotify and maybe Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts or what have you. So I feel like, maybe, just maybe, we get them out there too, and maybe I can help more people that maybe don't go to YouTube to look for the help. So that's all I got for now. I hope you guys had a wonderful Monday, or a marvelous Monday. I like to do the M and the M. You might notice that later. It'll be a fantastic Friday or a fabulous Friday. It's just, I don't know. I'm a little crazy with the words. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And if you all want to see, that just made me think of another funny story. I play word games, and like sometimes I'll say a word that most people don't say, just because I like to get reactions when people hear you say certain things, because everybody thinks they're funny. I don't think they're funny. I just think that it's interesting how other people find it funny. So I'll do another poll probably either Friday, or I'll do it next Monday. Maybe we'll do that like every Monday. I'll do a poll. Or maybe, this is a different type of poll. Maybe I'll do more polls than that. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just kind of doing this in the moment right now, currently. But one thing that I would like to give you the option in the poll is which words I should use, because I've been using a certain word, which is a funny word. Well, people think it's funny, and it's not funny like haha to me. It just seems odd because nobody says it, and I've been using it for so long, and I'm not really getting the reaction. People are now used to me saying it, so they don't react when I say the word. So I've decided I might want to switch it up with another word. So I'll make a video about that. Maybe I'll make a short about that tomorrow and send it to you. Or maybe even later tonight. Who knows? But that's it for now. I'm done talking. I know I keep saying that. It's like the third time I've said it. But I really appreciate you all. Leave a message in the comments if you really want to see a poll on whether you want the poll on Friday or the poll on Monday. This is going to be the poll about the words. The word that I'm looking to change. So if you want to hear about it, I need to see comments and subscribers. I just want this to be like an experience where maybe my knowledge can help others and we can have fun. So God bless. Until Wednesday, God bless. And I will do some shorts. And I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful, well, no, marvelous Monday evening. All right, God bless.